Okay. Hey, it is 7 o'clock on the East Coast, and we're kicking off tonight's interview. I'm going to just burn a little bit of time here and let some people come on board and click into the live. Let the electrons flow through the internet and get to everybody that wants to attend tonight. And so this portion, I guess I'll take just a moment here to welcome. All right. So if you've joined us, drop me a note down in the comments, please. Let me know you're here. We've got a couple people, and we will get started in just a moment. Okay. All right. So I'm going to kick this off. Hello. All right. I'm here, but I'm sorry I can't tell who I am is. Throw your name in there. Let me know who you are. All right, I'm gonna roll with this. So, welcome to tonight's live broadcast. I'm having fun here. I'm gonna have an interview with Courtenay Nold. Courtenay is coming to us from the great state of Indiana, just a little bit northwest of me. Gina, hi, great to see you. Glad to have you here. So my guest tonight is Courtenay Nold, and she's the author of a free ebook titled Total War on PTSD. All right. Courtenay attended, she's a Navy veteran. She attended Navy boot camp in Great Lakes. So did I. Just a number of years apart from each other. After completing boot camp, she went on to train as a yeoman, and soon after was mobilized to South Korea for a year. After her tour in South Korea, she returned stateside, and she was then she traveled around the U.S. while she was in a in the training personnel for the Center of Naval Leadership. She climbed through the ranks and was selected as a YN chief. Congratulations! And not long afterwards, she was selected as a limited duty officer, or an LDO, in the Navy in 2009. Soon after commissioning, she then deployed to Kandahar, Afghanistan, with the 3rd Naval Construction Regiment, which was in charge of overseeing construction contracts, route clearances, and activities, and was in charge of 11 battalions, commands, and support units across multiple branches of the armed forces. Afterwards, she returned stateside again and served with Navy Personnel Command. She's dealt with PTSD and depression, among other issues, and she was medically retired after she coded or medically died during an electroconvulsive therapy treatment. Sorry, ECT. That's a mouthful. I'm happy to report, however, that the medical staff was able to revive her, and she's here and able to join us today. So, Courtenay, welcome to Tap 2.
Thank you, Darren. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Oh, you bet. I'm more happy probably than you are that you're here, and I hope our conversation tonight is going to have an impact, a positive impact, not only our conversation but the ebook that you've produced. And so, would you mind to tell us about your experience that led up to and why you created the ebook?
Well, a friend of mine and I deployed to South Korea right after 9/11. He was also deployed to Afghanistan 6 months after I was, and he was okay for a while after we got home from Afghanistan, or so I thought. He succumbed to his PTSD about 2 years after he got back home. When I heard about my friend's passing, I decided to put together a book to help others to fight their own PTSD and save them and myself from the same fate. I live my life to help others, and my mission in life is to help others to fight their war and find their own path to recovery from PTSD. When you read this free ebook, you join the fight against PTSD and support its victims in and out of uniform. For me, it's highly personal. PTSD invades your life with claws and teeth. It can hit you in a war zone like Afghanistan, where it grabbed me, or it can pounce on you in the civilian world anywhere that life-threatening trauma tears into your body, mind, and spirit. It's a potentially lethal enemy, and we must fully understand it and then defeat it. We can do this, especially if we take it on together.
Right on. I I know that there's other operations, there's other campaigns, so to speak, right, in out on Facebook and out in the public to help prevent suicide, right? And
Yes,
I honestly think that that PTSD is probably, especially with the military folks, right, either active or that have the veterans that have gotten out. I really think that this monster, this PTSD, is a major driver or a major cause to that.
yes. And it's not only focused on veterans, it's also focused on first responders and civilians. So basically, anyone who has PTSD can um, apply the same principles across the board.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not going to call anybody out, but I do know that there's at least one group member that has suffered from domestic abuse, right? Um, that's another what instigator of PTSD, right? I mean, PTSD doesn't necessarily come from just being shot at. You can suffer from PTSD from, like you just mentioned, EMS and firefighters, right? I mean, seeing,
And
uh,
doctors and
eh,
nurses, and yeah,
yeah, yeah, even just, just being in any kind of a horrific event um, can trigger it, right?
yes.
Awesome. Could you describe the composition of the book for me, or for the audience, please?
Overall, it actually has 46 chapters. The last chapter is a chapter of links for useful topics, but it contains 45 chapters that focus on various therapies or paths to take to find your own way towards recovery. This includes a wealth of information on options for standard as well as alternative therapies, and options ranging from yoga to psychiatry to flotation therapy, ketamine therapy, and so much more.
Awesome. Um, what out of all of those therapies and treatments, what worked best for you, and what did you have the best experience with, I suppose?
I think what's been most helpful for me um, mostly is mindfulness, but also photography. Or those two are my main paths taken to fight my own PTSD. Mindfulness is a basic human ability to be fully present and aware of where you are and what you're doing, and not be overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's going on around you. Photography is pretty self-explanatory. I
Yeah.
I take a lot of pictures on my phone. Um, my last therapy was and continues to be writing, including writing poetry. This topic isn't covered in the ebook, but the entire ebook is a representation of the work that I did to assemble the chapters that would benefit the reader.
Gotcha.
Um, Also, every every contributor every contributor to the ebook was a volunteer and provided their chapters with no expectations other than to help those dealing with PTSD towards their own recovery.
Oh, that's super. And from our conversation earlier, I mean, this is an array of counselors, doctors, professional practitioners, right?
Mhm.
That contribute to the different chapters of
Yes.
the ebook, right?
Yes, and there's a couple commercial organizations, but majority of those are not for profits and individuals who are just working to help fight PTSD
Awesome.
via their own methods. So,
Great. Um, so uh, what advice do you have for the audience regarding dealing with PTSD? I mean, maybe some people don't know how to recognize it or how to deal with it. Do you have any advice?
I think if you have PTSD or someone you care about has PTSD, you need access to all kinds of information about any kind of therapy out there in order to facilitate your own recovery and find your own path. Not everything fits everyone. You can't leave it up to just therapy or just medications because that just isn't always the answer. Um, it's not always for everyone, and it doesn't always provide you with what you need to find your own path towards healing in your own way. No one heals the same way and in the same time frame.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, everybody's individual, right? I mean, it's like anything. I may react differently to, well, heck, I'm allergic to Septra, right? I'm allergic to sulfa drugs,
Hmm.
so I react differently than other people in any kind of treatment, whether it's medication or counseling. I mean, I'm a
Hmm.
visual learner too, right? So I like to and have to see things and read things and kind of touch and feel things to
Yeah.
learn them. So yeah, I can imagine as I think it's awesome that you have 46 chapters, 45 chapters of different treatments. I mean, wow, there's got to be something that um that's effective, or even a combination, right, of a couple of the treatments that somebody could use
Yes.
and seek out. So speaking of treatment, um, the ebook's super comprehensive. If I find a therapy um, that I'm attracted to or that I'm interested in, how do I find a local practitioner uh, for that therapy?
What I'd do is I'd search under, for instance, the topic of Alexander technique and PTSD. And then I specifically put in your city or state if you're looking for something local.
Okay. Okay, great. So yeah, so I think it's important that um, if you do find a therapist, so let's just say acupuncture, right?
Hmm.
Acupuncture, you should do a search for acupuncture or PTSD and acupuncture together, and then
Yes.
your local area. That way, of course, you'll find acupuncturist if you just search acupuncture, but you will probably neck it down to somebody that uses the acupuncture technique particularly for PTSD, right? If you combine
Yes.
the titles.
Yes.
Okay. Not, I just wanted to make that's what I took out of our conversation earlier, but I wanted to make that
Hmm.
clear. Thank you for that. So I'm going to ask if anybody has any comment or questions that they want to ask in particular. I see one comment here. I'm a Marine brat, and trust me, I have PTSD from what my stepdad went through, and I also had a uh, horrible marriage that I'm a survivor of, and so this you know this ebook, let me say here, I have a banner. um barnesandnoble.com, you can search for Total War on PTSD, and you can download this free off of Barnes and Noble if you have a Nook, or you can download the Nook app if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
and you'll be able to read it. If that isn't available to you, one second, let me um if for some reason you can't get it from Barnes and Noble, then you can email Courtney at this email address, and Courtney will send you a PDF version of it so that you can print and read, read on paper.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. And I don't see any other questions. I do have a comment, astrophotography. So one of the listeners does astrophotography, which that's pretty cool. I actually think that I may have been on your profile. If you're the one that had a shot of the moon and an airplane flew across, it was pretty wild. I was like, wow, you don't get that very often. Let's see. I also own and run a sober living home for veterans from Rumford, Maine, that this would be great for. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. So maybe,
He can that person can network with me via email,
okay.
and I can send a copy via PDF. The only thing I ask for in that type of situation is that they keep track of the numbers of how many people that actually used it.
Okay.
There was another instance that there was a dedicated veteran section in a jail that is using my book for uh, e-learning, basically.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So one quick note that I forgot to mention is that if you're outside the CONUS, continental U.S., then you won't, you likely, including Hawaii, I believe, right, Courtney?
Yes.
You won't be able to pull it down off of Barnes and Noble, so you'll need to email Courtney here.
Okay. And the last question, can she send me something to vetswithpets207@gmail.com? Yeah, that's no problem. I can send something.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, that really wraps us up for tonight. Unless anybody's got any other comments or questions, I want to profusely thank you, Courtney, for coming on with me tonight and for talking about your ebook. And even more, I'd like to thank you for putting it together.
Thank you
So,
very much.
yeah, no, thank you, and to all you out there that are dealing with PTSD or know somebody that it is, please guide them to Courtney. And I'll put just one more time. This is the barnesandnoble.com. It's super easy. You just search for Total War on PTSD and you can pull it down. So
And one more note on that. For
yeah.
the Nook application, you can basically use for instance, your phone and search for the app by
Oh,
just putting in the word Nook.
oh, okay. And then you could have the app on your phone and you could e-read it off of your phone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, take it anywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Courtney, and thank you all for being on tonight, and we will see you next Tuesday. Cheers.